back with some more PUBG Mobile. This video is all about the best loot spots in this game. We're going to look at specific areas in the map and specific buildings in these areas. So it's a nice comprehensive tutorial and I hope you'll benefit from it. Really quickly, all I ask is for you to leave a like down below. A lot of people think likes equal money on YouTube when in fact they don't. It's just a way to support the channel, and this video has taken a long time to make, so your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. And with that being said, let's just get into this. So to start things off, we should address some pretty simple facts. Fact number 1, the areas with the most amount of players are the areas with the best loot. There's a reason why so many players land in these areas, and it's not because they like the scenery. Fact number 2, in order to get to these best loot spots, you will have to take big risks. The best loot spots aren't in areas no one goes to. You'll have to be willing and ready to take fights from the moment you touch the ground. And lastly, fact number 3, most people know this, but hey, maybe if you're a beginning player you don't. Loot is completely random in PUBG Mobile. You'll never know what will spawn in an area before you get there. With this video, we'll be explaining the best places in the map that are most likely to give you the best loot. It's never 100% guaranteed. You could very well watch this video, land at the spots I recommend, and get nothing of value. However, the spots I will talk about in this video will more consistently give you better loot than the areas I will not talk about. Keep that in mind. Anyways, what are the best loot spots? Well, as I said earlier, the best spots to land are the busiest. Let's first talk about the original PUBG map, Erangel. First off, let's talk about the military base. If you're wanting good loot, this is the best spot in the entire map. You will find the most consistent military grade gear there, and that basically means military helmets, military vests, etc. Lots of tier 3 items will spawn in at the military base, but again, it's a high traffic area. In the military base, when you're dropping, you should aim for these 3 buildings as they're close together. The most amount of concentrated loot is in them, and you can have a quick access to the road where a vehicle will likely spawn in. The only downside with the military base is it's many times far away from the circle, so be prepared to move a good distance to the second circle to get safe. Next up, another great spot to land in Erangel is School. Be prepared here, this spot is a death trap. School is almost always right near the flight path, so you'll have tons of players here. However, it's a fantastic spot for loot as well. The auditoriums will nearly always spawn in several different weapons, so try to get either there or up on top of the roof and then work your way down through the building to get to the rest of the loot alongside a lot of kills. The best thing about School is it is conveniently located in the center of the map, so you'll have a lot of options to travel to from there, including the apartments and Raja. Third, and the last place we'll talk about in Erangel, is the crates near Georgia Pole alongside the hospital. This is one of my favorite spots in the map because you'll get nearly as good of loot as you get in School with usually far fewer players. The only downside is you'll have to travel a decent amount to get to any other area from these 2 spots. A few honorable mentions, Pachinki, Novorepnoye, and Milta Power. I'm not a huge fan of Pachinki personally, but it is a good spot for loot. However, it's probably the most dangerous spot on this list, with a high chance of dying if you land there. I like Novo and Milta a lot, but generally these are only good if you're near the flight path, so many times you won't even pass by these places when you're in a game. Next up, let's talk about the map, Miramar. This is the newer map in PUBG Mobile, put into the game a couple of months after the game was first released. Miramar is a completely different landscape than Erangel, taking place in a desert as opposed to a more forested environment. But guess what? The landing and loot rules that were for Erangel still apply for Miramar. It comes down to a 4-word phrase: high risk, high reward. Just like with what we said earlier, the best places to get the best loot in Miramar are going to be the places with the most amount of players, so you need to be alert and ready to encounter someone at any time. First off, we need to talk about Hacienda del Patron. To put it into old map terms, this place is basically the size of School with the type of loot military base has. It's good. Only problem with this place is you'll likely find more people here than any other part of the map. So Many people land here because it's in the center of the map and the flight path nearly always goes over. So be prepared for fighting if you get here. Want level 3 gear, scopes, the best guns, and so on and so forth? I'd suggest landing here before anywhere else in PUBG Mobile. Next, we have to mention the Picado Gym and Casino. These places are also right in the center of the map, so they're guaranteed death traps like 90% of the time. But some people will argue the risk is worth it in the end. You'll have awesome loot spawn in here, equal to what spawns in at Hacienda del Patron. Out of the 2 buildings to go to, I would recommend the casino over the gym. I find more consistent good loot there. However, as I said in the beginning of the video, it's all up to you. Land at both spots, familiarize yourself with the area, and you'll be set. Want to know the best spot for loot in the entire game? It's prison. At least from my experiences, I can say I get more consistent good loot here than anywhere else on Miramar. There is one big downside to this spot though, its location. If you look at the map, you can see it's far to the bottom left side, literally on a separate island, so it's super hard to get to unless you're lucky enough to have a flight path close to it. If you do have one of those flight paths, seize the opportunity because you are in for some incredible loot when you get here. Just make sure there is a boat that you can escape to the mainland with after you loot up. Lastly, let's talk about Los Leones. But wait, not the actual city itself. Land here by these buildings to the south, and specifically the brick buildings. The loot here is very good and you can avoid a bunch of campers on tall buildings in Los Leones. I don't particularly like Los Leones, similar to how I don't like Pachinki in the other map. You can too easily die there, and far too many people land there to make it worthwhile. If you land at these buildings, there are less people, you can gear up faster, and you'll actually have a better chance of getting out alive. Best thing is, you're right near a road, so vehicles are nearby too. A couple of other honorable mentions. You could land at Power Grid, Ladriera, and Los Leones itself. These spots all aren't as good as what I mentioned before, but hey, it's always good to land at different places so you can learn how the whole map works. We're nearly finished with this video, but there's something really important I need to mention. This is a pre-recorded video on June 29th, and it's entirely possible Sandhawk could be added in between the time I'm recording this and the time I'm uploading it. If that is the case, don't worry, I can definitely do a second part to this video explaining in depth all the best spots to land in Sandhawk. Just let me know in the comments if you do, and I can get that out as early as a couple of weeks from now when I'm back from my vacation. Here's the thing, as I said earlier, the phrase you need to remember whenever you open up PUBG Mobile is high risk, high reward. In order to get the best loot, you will need to land at popular areas. Maybe you're not too fond of that, and you'd rather land at a spot where no one is. I get that perspective, but the problem is you don't encounter a lot of action early game, and you won't get better at the game. Simple as that. If you're just starting out with PUBG Mobile, you really need to land in these high traffic areas, learning how to gear up quickly and how to get kills fast. You may die a lot more in the beginning, but hey, that's okay. When you're first starting to play PUBG Mobile, you don't play for wins. You play for the experience of getting better at the game. You play to learn what the map feels like, how the guns work, and how to deal with any situation. If a win comes along with it, hey, that's great. But you can't expect a win all the time when you're first starting out. Once you're able to consistently stay alive landing at these high traffic areas, then you can finally start to branch out and go to different, less popular areas so you can explore the map more and find your own personal favorite landing spots. Never forget, high risk equals high reward. And with that, we have completed today's video. I hope you stayed until the end, and if you did stay until the end, I hope you learned something new in this video. Obviously, this was a tips and tricks video more geared towards beginning players. If you're experienced at the game, you should already know the best loot spots in PUBG Mobile. But hey, maybe you didn't think of one of these spots, and now you know. If you thought this video was well made, please leave a like down below. It takes literally 1 second, but it means so much more. Subscribe for more PUBG Mobile content, gameplays, tips and tricks videos, and more, and check out the playlist I'll link down below in the description. If you're having lag issues in this game, wanting to know how to spot a bot in this game, or even the best settings to win, I'll have all those videos plus more linked to it. It'll help quite a lot of you out. Thanks for watching, guys.